video is how to make a rounded back adjustment. And this is a really important adjustment for many women who just have a little bit of extra right here. And it's not necessarily that you have a big protrusion. When we think about, say, what used to be called a dowager's hump, you think of an old lady very bent with a big old protrusion back here. But it's really that there is enough fullness here, and it comes in then at the neck, that the garment won't stay in place. And so if you have a series of garments or jackets that are always shifting around, sometimes it's because you need this adjustment. But there's another way to tell if you need it too. If you position the jacket on the body, and I have this gal, and she already has a round back in there, so we can't really look at this for analysis, but we can see. You want to picture the jacket, put the jacket on the body, and the dress form is not perfect because you have these arms and hold this out even more, and so you need to put it on your body and have somebody take some photos of you if you have nobody to assist you. And what you're hoping for when you get it on, if you don't need the round back, you'll have these nice straight grain lines that will run down the back of the jacket, and you'll have nice straight grain lines and horizontal balance lines that will create a grid that will be parallel and perpendicular to the floor. That is the perfect world for the way a jacket should sit on you in a balanced way. And this mannequin actually has a pretty full upper back, so it's a good way to look. She has these nice straight lines now because that extra, and this looks like it's about 5/8 of an inch, which is what we did in the video, is a good amount to get it to drop. And here you see on this smaller one, and again, you see how much better we could assess the fit if she had her arms in the jacket, but she has no arms. This is what you want. You want this straight grid of lines that hangs pretty straight and parallel and perpendicular to the floor, as you see here. Now, if you needed a round back, your lines would look more like this. I'm going to try to just create this situation. You would have this sort of, usually a swing that comes out towards the bottom of the jacket. It just means it's not very well balanced. And then you would also have lines that were curving up all the way down, and hence the hemline also is curving up in the back. So again, if you have garments, they curve up in the back, the hemline curves up, and yet you know that the garment was cut on the grain, maybe the problem is you need to have a little round back adjustment. It's not a difficult adjustment to do, and it just makes all the difference in the world in how the garment fits and feels on you as you are moving through your day, because it really does fit you in a much more balanced way. So the video will walk you through the process. You'll do a slash and spread along that high upper balance line, or if you know that your protrusion, your area of fullness, is down here a little bit further, you can do it a little further down. If you need lots of protrusion, if you have a very round back, as my mother did as she aged, and I expect I will too, you can do two different ones positioned on the back where you think you need them. You will create the slash and spread, and then you will end up with a little pair of darts up here in the neck edge that will close the neck back up. Because a lot of what this does is it gets the neck where it belongs on your body, so it's not tempted to shift around. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a balanced garment. We want it to hang nice and straight. We don't want it to be curving up in the back, and especially if that's not a design feature you've been trying to achieve. So try this round back adjustment. If those are issues that you have, follow the directions explicitly. I'll show you exactly what to do. You can estimate, if you're not sure how much you need, If your jacket was up here like this on your body, you could see it. You can actually place or put a ruler, imaginary ruler or a real ruler. I have one right here. And you could lay that there and see approximately how much you would need at that center back, which is where the fullness is. We don't make this adjustment into the armhole. You generally don't need the adjustment into the armhole, so you don't have to change the sleeve. So enjoy the video, follow along. If you, just one more little note I'll say, in our common fitting adjustment document, we have a description of how to do this round back adjustment if your fullness is on one side or the other. It's fairly complicated and it requires you to make a full back pattern in order to do the adjustment, but it's pretty clear there. And I think that if you do have one side that's much higher than the other, you might want to follow those instructions. At this point, we have not made a video about that. But if there were enough people who needed it, I'm sure I would be able to put one together. So, do some beautiful pattern work. Adjust your back for a little bit of a rounded back. And when the garment fits you right, no one will even notice that you needed to make that adjustment. We're here to do the pattern work for the rounded back or full upper back adjustment. Which many women need when they are getting older or have spent a lot of time hunched over their sewing machine, or all kinds of other reasons, including just structural reasons that your body has a curve at the upper back area. So the way this adjustment is done, you need to have a ruler. And you need to have some paper, and I've cut a small piece that I know is probably about what I need, but I have some more right next to me if I need it. And we need tape, and this is actually a tape that can come off and go back on. Generally, you want to use a permanent tape, but if you're not sure about yourself, you're just doing pattern adjustments for the first time, a tape like this might be useful to you. I find it very helpful to have that tape in a heavy dispenser, so I don't have to use two hands to get the tape out. I can just do it with one hand as I am working. And here you see the back pattern. This is the back of the Tabula Rasa jacket. It looks exactly, or for all the world, pretty much exactly like the back of the Opus jacket. That's just a little bit bigger. And so if you need to do this adjustment, you would need to do it on either pattern or both patterns, whichever ones you're working with. And it will just give you a much better fit, as we discussed, in the way the jacket sits on the body. So, as you see, I have trimmed this off. We're going to be using the 3XL size, so you have lots of room to see what I'm doing. I haven't trimmed it off here at the fold line. We'll actually use that extra paper as we make our adjustments. You also need a pencil or a pen or some way to mark your changes. Now, you want to be really careful to make sure you're doing the adjustment from the side with the fold line. We don't adjust the side seam, which is over here with the notches. That stays the same. And so we're going to just cut across here. This is what you call a slash and spread alteration. We're going to stop at the 5/8 inch seam line because we're not going to make any adjustments there. So I'm going to take my trusty paper scissors and go straight across here, okay, till I get to the side. And then I'm actually going to roll it back on itself and make a little hinge. Just see right there. All right. That'll allow it all to sit a little bit better. Now, most people benefit from, unless you're really quite hunched, and sometimes then you actually need to do the alteration twice, a little lower. I'm doing it right now on the extra large 3XL high horizontal balance line, which is on the pattern, which makes it easy to use. And I'm going to presume that this person needs a 1/2 inch round back. You can do this adjustment up to 1 inch, or you can do 2 1/2 inch, or you can do 2 5/8 inch, or just depends on how much you need. The older you get, you might need to add a second adjustment into your pattern. Okay, so we have put the paper down, and we're going to tape one side. So when you're working with patterns, you must keep them flat. They are flat patterns. They need to be flat. And so you never want to be trying to tape too many things together at once. I think we're always in a hurry. You should never come to your pattern work in a hurry. So I'm actually going to peel that back and lay my paper in here. And I'm going to just tape here on one side with fairly small pieces of tape. I think they're easier. And you want to just move slowly and surely down the project so you keep it nice and flat. All right, so we have one side taped. That side looks a little wiggly, so I'll actually just lift this up and move it there. So there we go. Now we're going to measure up here along that fold line. The fold line is a very nice anchor for you because it's very straight. You always have the fold line on the straight of grain, so we know that that's good. And we're going to mark a 1/2 inch here on the paper. So it's a 1/2 inch up from the pattern where we cut it to the where the top part of the pattern is going to come down and join the fun. And so it's going to lay right here, all right? And I've lined it up right there with that little 1/2 inch. And if you want to, you can just double check again to make sure that's right. Now you might say, what difference does a 1/2 inch make? A 1/2 inch makes a lot of difference. If you need this or any other alteration, many adjustments, we use only like a 1/4 inch or a smaller amount even than that. And it can make a whole lot of difference. Now, I have put this down. I'm going to tape this second side down so it too is stable. Okay. And so we've done our slash and spread. In the process of slashing and spreading, we've done some things that we need to address, let's say. And the first one is, by doing this, you've given yourself the extra space you need in the fullness of your upper back. However, you have also thrown off the fold line. And if you lay your ruler here, and this is our 18-inch ruler, so a little over 6 inches of it can run right along that fold line. And you'll see that we are off here by, it's a little bit. It's about a 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit more than that. So I'm going to just lay that ruler there, and I'm going to make myself a new line. And that new line shows you where the fold line is. So we can even write new fold line. If you're afraid you're going to forget, go ahead and write it, and you can just connect that neckline there. And we're going to now cut this off because we don't need this. Okay. Now, in making this adjustment here, what do we find? We also have now made the neck too big. And if the neck is too big, then nothing is going to sit right. All patterns, every action has a reaction, and we really do see that in pattern making. So to make this an easy adjustment, we are going to take the amount that we added here, and you can see it almost looks like a dart, and we're going to move it. We're going to move the intake into a little dart at the curve of the neck. And you can see here approximately where the neck curves. And we're going to aim that dart out just a little bit. And I would say in this larger size, let's go down about 2.5 inches. This is the kind of thing that you'll really want to pay attention to when we do our mock-up fitting. But in the meantime, we're going to measure the amount we have here. And it is, in fact, just a little over 1/4 inch. And we're going to put then 1/8 of an inch, little more than 1/8 of an inch on each side of that line we've drawn to build our dart on, okay? And then we're going to lay the ruler down, and we're going to create the dart on our little line, okay? Sort of the dart guideline, and these are the dart legs. And so we've added a dart here, and that if we form that dart, you'll be able to see, even in the paper, the results of this alteration, because you get this really nice little extra right here in the center back where you need it. Now, if you're not sure whether that's enough or not enough, you might want to just sort of take the pattern. You can pin the dart in and just go hold it up to your back and see how it looks. I often test my work on someone when we're in a classroom situation and I'm not sure if that I have done the right thing or not. You can also, if you want, tape down your little hinge. This will help you keep your pattern usable for a while until you make sure it has all of the adjustments that it needs. Now, because of the way you've done this, you can still cut the back on the fold, which we think is a real bonus. You don't have to make any adjustments to the sleeve or to a collar or any kind of neckline that you have going on, because you have accommodated everything within the interior of the pattern. And so that makes our work much easier, and we're now ready to try the next adjustment. Thank you for walking around back video. I hope it has helped you understand how to do this, and if you need it, that you will go ahead and make the adjustment so you'll have a better fitting garment. When I was editing the videos, I realized that I had left off the last step, and so I'm taking this minute to just make sure you do the final step. After you've finished your slash and spread and created your dart, then you have to straighten the grain line. It, like the center fold line, has become off in the process of doing the alteration. And if you see this little red line right here along the pattern, you can see where I laid my ruler along that line and created the new one. Don't forget to do that, or you'll be bamboozled when you're trying to put that straight line on to make your mock-up. So, good luck and happy sewing.